Do consumers really know the differences between ethical and fair trade, or are they just using fair trade approved as a label?
This is a question that activists ask themselves. In this video, we're going to discuss the two.
Things to take note of throughout this video are the bolded words, as they are related to the quiz at the end, and just your overall thoughts or questions you may have.
There are two types of trade, ethical and fair. Ethical trade looks at the ethics of trading, things such as working conditions or worker welfare. Ethical trade is the act of socially responsible trading. Socially responsible trading is, quote, an individual that is obligated to work and cooperate with other individuals and organizations for the benefit of the community. The trade includes things such as worker welfare, agricultural practices, natural resource conservation, and the sustainability of the environment. Retailers, brands, and suppliers are responsible for keeping the environment clean and usable for future generations. The ethical trading movement was established in 1998, and it was proposed by Professor John Reggie from Harvard University. It was created because campaigns and media exposed the truth about international trade and its industry. It showed the harsh working conditions of workers that produce goods for MNCs. Now let's look at fair trade. Fair trade looks at the fairness between countries that are trading. Companies in developed countries and producers in developing countries are paid fair prices and wages. The Fair Trade Organization was established in 2005 by CAFOD, Christian Aid, Oxfam, Tradecraft, the World Development Movement, and the National Federation of Women's Institutes. An honorable mention to Edna Ruth Byler, 1946. The organization was created in order for developing countries to contribute to international trade, protect the rights of workers, minimum wages, sustainable development/sustainability of the environment.
Now that we have some background information about ethical and fair trade, let's talk about sustainable prosperity and development. Sustainable prosperity is an idea that people and economies should prosper in a way that doesn't affect an individual's quality of life, can withstand any problems that could appear, and avoid severe harm to our planet. Sustainable development is defined as development that can meet the needs of current and future generations without compromising future generations' ability to meet those needs.
Ethical trading promotes sustainable development because it focuses on the well-being and protection of workers. It has two main priorities, economic and environmental. Economic. The role the economy plays in sustainable and ethical trade. It's to make sure that goods are produced in a way that will help stimulate the economy. Ethical economy doesn't depend on growth or use of materials. Environmental. Being environmentally ethical is the preservation of wildlife, biodiversity, habitats, and raw resource mining. A question that arises from being environmentally ethical is, should human morals pass on to nature? Fair trade also promotes sustainable prosperity. Fair trade is an organization that allows economic development through trade, partnerships, and makes sure consumers have products that they purchase to be in good condition and quality. They also have a required minimum price that acts as a safety net for farmers and workers. It decreases risk of losing a job and allows the workers to still have pay if they lost their jobs. Some goals of fair trade are achieve greater price stability for growers, improve production standards. A grower will be able to receive fair trade license if it can improve working conditions, better pay, and guarantees environmental sustainability. Environmental protection is a key element of fair trade's views of sustainability.
Our next question is, what are the key mechanisms through which your topic influences sustainable development and prosperity in developing and developed countries? Ethical and fair trade allows for producers in developing countries to reach sustainable and equitable trades, as well as protect workers' rights, which can be a huge boost in competition. This influences sustainable development and prosperity because they allow for those residing in developing countries to take full advantage of the opportunities that may come up. Ethical trade supports the idea of sustainability in our environments and economies, which definitely has influences in both developed and developing countries. In developed countries, fair and ethical trade provide more economic stability, especially for smaller businesses. Question number 5 is, what are some potential future directions or innovations that your chosen topic could adopt to enhance their efforts in promoting sustainable prosperity or development within the framework of globalization? In the future, I think it would be beneficial to do more in-depth research and such into the companies connected to them. In some instances, companies may claim that they use ethical and fair trade, but things will come up that go against what they stand for. If you preach being ethical economically and such, you should take the time to look into the companies who you're associated with. I think it would be really beneficial when it comes to sustainable development and prosperity.
Although there are precautions to try and prevent the use of child labor, harsh working conditions, and horrifyingly low pay, it is impossible to stop it all. Companies such as Nestle or H&M have been certified as Fair Trade approved. They have labeled their products to be ethical, and yet there are still claims that they use children to harvest or use as producers. An article written by Oliver Branch states that although these companies are labeled as, quote, Fair Trade approved, or supports ethical manufacturing, they still get accusations, claims, and proof that they are indeed using unethical practices to manufacture their products.
And our last question is, to what extent does globalization contribute to sustainable prosperity for all people? As we all know, globalization has its good and bad sides. Globalization has helped many countries into furthering their development and has supplied a handful of jobs for those in need. On the other hand, it has contributed to the vast gap in global inequalities, making the rich richer and the poor poorer. Sustainable prosperity is the idea that our economies and lives should prosper without affecting our quality of life. Globalization does contribute quite a bit to sustainable prosperity, but there are still downsides. It has helped economies grow rapidly and has assisted in reducing poverty levels, which has led to prosperity in developing countries across the globe. But globalization has also had its impact on people's quality of life, as well as effects on our environment. Lots of the jobs people in developing countries have contain harmful work environments and are often underpaid. Globalization also has had a negative effect on our environment. Land is being destroyed for its raw materials and pollution is getting worse. In simpler terms, globalization contributes a lot to sustainable prosperity, but also has drawbacks.
There are bound to be pros and cons to organizations such as these. Pros: reduces child labor, allows small business owners to become internationally competitive, and improves reputation. Cons: high fees, no drive to create better efficiencies, higher priced products.